Jones can crank out of that shop. And Michael Jones also involved in the vintage racing activities you have here. He's out there in the Bug-Eye Sprite. But the pace car this weekend, adding to that vintage flavor, a Cobra silver one too. Usually you see them, they're red or black, but or blue is a very popular cover for those Cobras.
Pretty car.
Concept of this, Don, is the intent is high-speed touring for the vintage racers, not aggressive driving. In fact, their general rule is you don't try and pass in the corners. That makes it a little bit safer. You can pass on the straightaways. But they want to bring history back to the racetrack, have racing history out there on the course, and really want the cars to go home as they come to the track. Maybe used up some tires and some brakes. The object out here isn't to be rubbing and racing. Quite a variety of vintage race cars we have there. Actually, you've got a couple from the 1950s, some from the 60s, and a few from the 70s. Trying to keep that history of racing alive.
So if we can, we won't necessarily give you the play-by-play, if you will, of who's leading this race all throughout. We'll try and get back and take pictures of all the cars and kind of talk about them a little bit. Because there are some, certainly some interesting vintage automobiles in this race.
Now the Cobra, all Oklahoma Cobra pace car comes off the track and look to be lined up pretty good. These vintage racers have a vintage lineup as they look for that green flag from their starter and Taylor. And a vintage green flag to go with.
Yes, indeed. So here we go with this vintage race. Keith Young, car number 95 on the front. And number 7, Bob Merrill, right behind him.
1600cc engine in that V1 Titan that Young is driving.
Young, who owns a Chevrolet dealership in Dallas, Texas, 64 years old, and has just been racing 6 years.
Bob Merrill able to stay right there with him in that vintage Formula V racer. Might expect the Titan to have pulled out a little bit here early on, but again, not aggressive driving is not what we're out here to see in vintage classes. We want to see these old race cars still out on the racetrack and not sitting in some museum someplace.
Merrill, who's in second place here, he also is from the Dallas area, actually from Denton. And he is into auto restoration, has his own restoration business out of Denton, Texas.
Good business card for him out there on the track. Don's a couple of vintage organizations on both coasts. There's one based in Florida, another one out on the West Coast, but vintage racing hasn't been all that big here in the heartland. Yet the potential is there. There are a lot of old race cars that have racing histories that are around both either in storage and private collections that could get out here on the track. So this very informal organization as it now stands hope to generate some interest.
And you mentioned Merrill owning his own business and kind of a business card of sorts. That is a way a lot of these drivers with the owning their own business can get a tax write-off sometimes with the advertising on these cars.
Maybe to help them justify the expense of racing. The drivers, racers, everyone's always talking about the increased cost of racing. And if you're fairly assured in this class that you're not going to be doing a lot of body work or fixing a wrecked car, then may make it a little more attractive to some racers.
In third place overall is car number 6.
He's charged from the back of the field.
Certainly is. That's
Mark Kilgo in that B Sports Racer. It may be old, but it's fast. It is really a quick car. You can just see it visibly looks fast out there in the picture.
Again, coming up, we'll have the go-karts here at Hallett. And just out of turn 2, we've got a yellow flag. Somebody off the track in turn 2.
Looks like maybe one of the Mini Coopers. We had a father-son team of Mini Coopers we'll be talking about in a little bit. English cars, never built intended to be race cars at all. Front-wheel drive, small engines, very primitive by some standards. But looks like he's got it going again, so we may see both Mini Coopers on the track. Number 65 is the father of the father-son team, Don Siebert.
In the beginning, TV networks like CBS and NBC sent out a signal. Now, some people got it, but some people didn't. Then came cable. We built big antennas to catch the network signal and send it to the houses that couldn't get it, which made everybody happy, including the broadcasters. And now the networks say they might stop us from carrying their signal. We hope they don't, but it's their decision. No matter what they decide, we'll keep a channel open for them.
You are cordially invited to an unprecedented opportunity to mingle with the greatest stars in the history of television, movies, sports, and entertainment. Call your local cable system and advertise locally on TNT. And be seen at the biggest gathering on television.
To advertise locally on TNT, call CAMA at 923-2262.
To bring you the inside look with auto racing's big boys behind the wheels on This Week in NASCAR.
This Week in NASCAR from Indianapolis, Indiana. Thursday night at 11 on Sports South.
A lot of racetracks in this part of the country are combined with drag strips as part of their ability to increase the versatility of the racing facility, but the Hallett Motor Racing Circuit, a true road course configuration. Kilgo still knocking on Keith Young's door. I bet those little mirrors on that Titan are full of the B Sports Racer of Mark Kilgo.
Just out of the turn 2, the tight turn they call stop sign turn. Then by the lake, Veronica Lake, and every once in a while you'll see a few turtles cross the road.
It has happened. They've had turtles on the race course, and sometimes the turtles make it across, sometimes they don't. And actually can be a racing factor. Some of these lightweight, fast cars, a good Oklahoma Terrapin out there could be a hazard. So corner workers always watching for that eventuality. Veronica Lake, really kind of pretty down there, Don. You get down and see the cattails, and quite photogenic. In all the years of racing here, no race cars have ever wound up in Veronica Lake. I've heard some racers have wound up in the one. It does get out here warm out here at times.
There's the back straightaway.
Still got to believe that Mark Kilgo may be waiting for the proper time to get around. He sure made the charge up there, got up there quickly, and having some difficulty getting around. Of course, Young may not have realized that he was on the move that fast.
And again into turn 1.
There you see that kind of early apex with the drifting out to the outside. A good line there by Keith Young. This will be the last lap, so probably time for Kilgo to make his move now if he's going to.
And they come into some lap traffic here in turn 2. So this will get interesting on this last lap.
Number 27, Mike Phillips, didn't get to talk about his MGA. It's a 1959 twin cam model, Don. Was enjoying visiting with Mike in the pits about that. The twin cam head design that was put on the stock lower end or stock block by MG back in 1959, 1960. Didn't have a lot of luck with it. We're getting some bad reviews in the racing, so they pulled out of it, and it was Group 44 later picked up the MG racing program. That is a good race.
Keith Young has led in his Titan ever since he got the green flag.
Checkered flag viewers are getting to see a real race in vintage. This is a treat because generally vintage races don't turn out to be this close to the end.
Kilgo started at the very back of this race, so he had to pass quite a few people to catch up with Young, but
time's running out.
Able to hold him off, and here we go.
They may be a drag race down the front, see who gets the start-finish line. From our angle, just can't tell. Too close to call, Don.
It is Keith Young by a nose over car number 6, Mark Kilgo.
And they had some fun.
Racer. So it is Keith Young, your winner in the vintage. Congratulations to Keith Young out of Dallas, Texas, 64 years old, and certainly enjoying this one.
Pretty good show from Kilgo, too. They started last on the grid. Don charged all the way from second, so last to second in just 8 laps. Not bad.
We'll take a break, come back with more racing here at Hallett on Checkered Flag.
Sports South. September. Fall sports. Fall fever. We're blitzing full force with college football. Over 30 weekly coaches shows and conference updates. More than 25 live and tape-delayed games throughout the month. Stacking each weekend with matchups from across the South and around the nation. How about football from around the world? The Canadian League live and the Australian Rules Grand Final live. And talk about hard-hitting action. Every hit counts in the pennant race, and we've got the Braves covered, both on and off the field. September comes a-swinging in a variety of styles. And whether driving the green or driving the distance, we'll put you in the driver's seat. Sports South. September. Coming this fall. And lasting every month throughout the spring of '94. ACC Sports Sunday on Sports South. A comprehensive lineup of Atlantic Coast previews, updates, sports specials, and a variety of live coverage in both regular season and tournament events. ACC Sports Sunday this fall on Sports South.
Mike Baldus joins us here at Hallett, a 30-year veteran out of the Kansas City area in kart racing. We take a look at the karts, Mike. It certainly is a family-oriented sport.
Very, very much so. We have entire families come out. We have age groups that can start racing at 8, and we have people 60, 65 years old running. And it's very safe, very fast, and very enjoyable.
When you were telling me the speeds that you can reach in the kart, it's really frightening. But tell us about the mechanical aspect and maybe some of the safety features.
Well, our speeds on this track will probably approach 120 miles an hour, but the center of gravity is only about 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch off the ground, and consequently it's very safe, very unlikely you can ever get one turned over. The short trackers or the sprint models that you sit up, they'll turn over a little easier, but they're still awful hard to get over.
Mike's certainly looking forward this afternoon to seeing kart racing here at Hallett.
Thank you very much. We've come down here to try and put on a show because the Grand Nationals are going to be here next year. And we expect 400 people here, and it'll really be a good week.
Welcome back to Hallett Motor Racing Circuit on this edition of Checkered Flag, home sports entertainment and regional sports networks around the country. Don King along with Neil Kennedy and J.B. Haney. Glad you're with us as we continue here at Hallett with the go-karts from the International Kart Federation. This will be a 15-lap feature race. And these guys get around this track faster than about anything.
Normally the IKF, the International Kart Federation karts, have about 18 classes, Don. For our purposes today with Checkered Flag, they're in 2 classes that the viewers will be able to distinguish, lay down and sit up. The lay down karts will be taking off first with the sit up karts behind those, providing more of that variety we were talking about for this edition of Checkered Flag.
The laydowns are considered a little bit faster than the sit-ups, which are also known as sprints. Jackie Oakes has the fastest qualifying time coming in. He's in the orange number 15. His fastest qualifying lap was 1:25.74 seconds. There you see him on the inside front row.
You know, that qualifying time compared to the others, as we said, they can get around here as quick as the big cars, quicker than most, really.
Kart number 8 is Greg Baldus. His father on the board of directors for the IKF. And does Ann Taylor give him the green flag? She does, and here we go. 2 classes. Again, the sit-ups and the laydowns for the go-karts. And Baldus, who has a brother racing in this event, grabs the lead.
Baldus is a roofing contractor. Greg towing in from Belton, Missouri, and Oakes is from Chickasha. Sponsored by Oakes Muffler and Auto Repair.
And Oakes grabs the lead back. Kart number 58, Hatcher in 3rd place.
Roger Hatcher didn't have quite as far to come. He's in from Claremore. Advantage Engineering and Russ's Rotex sponsoring Roger Hatcher in the number 58 laydown cart.
Boy, look how quick these things get around.
420 pounds with driver, Don, for the laydown carts.
And the setups are a little bit lighter than that, 360 pounds expected with the driver. So the setups have a little bit of a weight advantage, but the laydowns, don't they have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to aerodynamics?
Definitely in the aerodynamics. You can just see how slicing through the air out there, in order to get around the track in a minute 25 seconds out there, they're still topping 100 miles an hour on the front straightaway. Talked to one of the drivers that said his computer digital readout was reading 105, 106 miles an hour on that front straightaway. Over 100 miles an hour, 1 inch off the ground.
And they have that after their availability right off their steering wheel, right?
That's correct. They'll have the digital readout, both mainly the head temperature and RPM. They're not so much concerned with the mile per hour, but they're in engine RPM and the head temperature on those engines. All 125cc. Some of the motorcycle engines, like you have in a Honda CR125, but others are 125cc go-kart racing engines, most of them out of Italy.
Well, the laydowns are taking care of things right now. The top 4 right now are all from the laydowns in the go-karts. Car 58 is Roger Hatcher. He is in 3rd place. 39 years old from Claremore, Oklahoma, as Neil mentioned. And cart number 3 is in 4th place. And that is Tim Gilbert out of the Kansas City area. In fact, he is here with the Baldus boys. Greg, who's your leader in cart number 8, and his brother Bernie is in cart number 5.
Gilbert was the regional points champ in 1991 and 92, so keep an eye on the number 3 cart. Certainly a contender. He likes, because he likes Hallett's motor racing circuit more in the laydown carts, it's more comfortable. Guess if you can be comfortable going 100 miles an hour around Hallett, and that says something for your character.
This is a great class for those, again, we've talked about wanting to get into racing. And we've certainly shown you different levels of getting into racing, road racing. This is certainly a great entry level with these go-karts. And as you see in these things, they're going so fast. Over 100 miles an hour down the straightaways, but still they're very difficult to turn over. They're very difficult to get upside down. So they're really danger-wise, they're not all that dangerous.
And have seen these carters when they do happen to flip or get over. They're just like the motorcycle races. They'll pick them back up, put them back on their wheels, get them cranked up, and head out again.
Ooh, there's 3rd place here. That is 31. He is in the sit-up, along with 58. Roger Hatcher. So your leader in the sit-ups is 31, Mike Finley.
Mike's been racing 5 years, but still a student out of Richardson. Sponsored by Polydynamics, Finley Racing, Mag Distributors, and Russell Karting.
Lap number 4 of this 15-lap race. And right now, Greg Baldus, who overtook Jackie Oakes, cart 15 on the first lap, continues to lead. Nice battle for first. And now we have a new number 3 leader.
Talk about race drivers being athletes, Don, and that's certainly evidence out here in the heat today at Hallett. But Finley in the number 31 cart, the state champion for Southwest Texas State University in both wrestling and karate. So if racers want to get in a disagreement with one of the drivers out there, probably shouldn't pick on Mark Finley.
Well, you certainly have to wrestle these things a little bit. Finley is in 3rd place again overall in this race and leads his sprint class.
Don't believe you have to kick-start him.
No. And he had no qualifying time coming in. Also, they have different ways of shifting these cars. In the laydowns, they have what they call a butterfly shifter off the steering wheel, and on the sit-ups, they have what they call the another shifter.
both going to 6-speed transmissions, though. Some of them use motorcycle transmissions, others with, again, racing car transmissions. A new cart might cost you $4,500 for a brand new and gone. Used carts, still competitive, about half that price. And, of course, all different price ranges up and down. But they may look like toys. They are not. These are sophisticated racing machines, 4-wheel disc brakes. And though they have no suspension as far as shock absorbers or springs, they can tune the chassis within the chassis. All the suspension is in the chassis, and they can adjust all 4 corners with the tightness and looseness as the track conditions warrant.
Your top 2 in this race are in the lay-down class. Number 8, Greg Baldus. Number 15, Jackie Oakes. And then your next 3 in the competition, 3rd, 4th, and 5th in the overall race, are from the sprint class, the sit-up class. That's 58, Roger Hatcher, 31, Mike Finley, and number 7, cart number 7, Park Raider. As I mentioned earlier, is with the Balduses here from Missouri. In fact, the Balduses are actually from Kansas City, and we have a problem here. Cart, I think that's 20, might be 24, 23 it is. On the 6th of 15 laps. And your leader throughout is number 8, Greg Baldus. Jackie Oakes from Chickasha, Oklahoma, out of the Oklahoma City area, is in 2nd. In 3rd is Roger Hatcher, cart number 58. He is 1st in his sit-up class.
You may know some of the carts look a little bit off-center as far as driving position, Don. That's because they are actually in the more of a side saddle configuration for the engines rather than the old classic go-karts we used to think about where the engine was above the transaxle in the back. In the lay-down and the sit-ups, the driver and the engine share the mid-chassis position. No tire rules on these. You can run, if you think a bigger tire is going to make you go faster as far as size or rubber compound, no rules on that, Don. They all run whatever they figure can get around the track the quickest.
Again, with the laydowns, 420 pounds with the driver. And the sit-up's a little bit different, a little lighter, 360 pounds with the driver, but the
and some actually have to add weight to make that to come up. They must weigh at least that much.
The laydowns with the aerodynamic advantage. And here's Baldus going into turn 2. Boy, they are so small and so quick. They handle that stop sign turn better than anything we've seen. Much quicker through the turn.
Karts enjoying getting to run on a big track like Hallett. Big for them. They're used to smaller, both dirt tracks and the paved ovals.
Again, Baldus' father, Mike, got the 2 boys, your leader, Greg Baldus, and Bernie, who's in cart number 5, interested in kart racing because he was a go-kart racer, still does do some racing. The boys then got old enough to get into other sports. And then he said girls came along, and then school. And after they gotten married and had their own children, Mike's not only bringing his 2 sons, but bringing the grandkids out. And now they've gotten back into the racing as a family adventure.
You can get several carts and equipment, spare engines and all in a trailer that normally would take to haul one larger race car. You can get quite a bit in the trailer behind the van, load up the family. A good family sport, as is all the motorsports offering. Again, just remarkable to put a program this size and this variety together at Hallett Motor Racing Circuit for the viewers on the checkered flag.
Sports South. September. Fall sports. Fall fever. We're blitzing full force with college football. Over 30 weekly coaches shows and conference updates. More than 25 live and tape-delayed games throughout the month. Stacking each weekend with matchups from across the South and around the nation. How about football from around the world? The Canadian League, live and the Australian Rules Grand Final live. And talk about hard-hitting action. Every hit counts in the pennant race, and we've got the Braves covered, both on and off the field. September comes a-swinging in a variety of styles. And whether driving the green or driving the distance, we'll put you in the driver's seat. Sports South, September.
You're watching Sports South Network.
Are exciting, but the danger is haunting.
Anderson 400 from Indiana. Live Saturday night at 9 on Sports South.
He's enjoying a healthy lead. And had led, he overtook car 15, Jackie Oakes, on the second turn of the first lap. Oakes was trailing him by a consistent 5 or 6 seconds, and then about lap 10 seemed to fall back about 15 or 20 seconds, and then Oakes spins out in turn 2 on lap number 11. We're now on lap number 13, and Baldus is having no problem. As you look, I believe that's 58. Second place belongs to Roger Hatcher.
As you might imagine, the motorcycle engines they run the karts are mostly a Japanese manufacturer. You mentioned the kart engines, specifically racing engines from Italy, and a lot of the frames also come from Italy, Don. Goes along with what we were talking about earlier with how big sport kart racing is over in Europe compared to the United States.
Checkered flag coming up for these gentlemen. 58 again is Roger Hatcher, second overall, second in the laydowns as well. Third overall and leading the sit-ups is Bernie Baldus, kart number 5. And when you took a look at the top 4 qualifying times for the sit-ups, only a half second separated the top 4 qualifying times.
Hatcher's president of the Tulsa Kart Association, Don, the local sprint kart racing organization, and the IKF Go-Kart National champions here at Hallett in 1994 is something we need to look forward to.
Baldus is coming into lap traffic. In fact, he says, let me by, I'm going to get the checkered flag. What a smooth race. Number 8, Greg Baldus won out of the Kansas City area. Here he comes for the checkered flag.
More vibration in that than you get out of your quarter at the motel vibrating bed, Don, but probably still be ready for a good rub down after that 15-lap race.
So congratulations to Greg Baldus out of the Kansas City area. He took over the lead on the second turn of the first lap and wins the 15-lap feature race for the go-karts from IKF.
Well, Greg, congratulations, first of all, on winning here at Hallett, and it looked like, from a spectator standpoint, a rather easy race. I'm sure if you were driving the kart, it wasn't that way.
No, it wasn't. It's never easy. Even if it looks like it's easy, it's not easy. Everything ran pretty smooth, and it was just one of those days, I guess.
It really looked like your kart was running exceptionally well here in the heat, and a lot of the karts were dropping out, but it seemed like that you just began at lap number 1 and just stretched your lead throughout the course of the race.
Well, the kart handled great, and the motor held up, and everything worked out great. And that's what happens when everything falls in place.
Well, congratulations on your victory.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Rick, congratulations. A great race here at Hallett this afternoon, but really was touch and go between you and Bernie Baldus out there. Finally, on that 15th lap, you were able to catch him and walk away the winner. Tell us how it came about.
Well, Bernie was having trouble in the tight corner on the backside, and when he'd bobble, I'd take advantage of him, and just happened on the last lap that he was a little slower, and so he couldn't catch back up and pass me up here on the front straightaway, and so it ended up that I beat him to the checkered flag that lap. So it was good for me, and it was a close race, and so it was a great run, really.
Well, congratulations again, and I know that you always have sponsors that help you, and there's been a great help to you.
I'd like to thank Equity Bank for savings for all they've done. I'd like to thank Oaks Muffler and out of Chickasha for sponsoring the motor that I run today. I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks a lot.
Exciting racing action. Come to the Tulsa Speedway every Friday and Saturday night. Tulsa Speedway, Highway 75 and 66th Street North.
Miller Genuine Draft.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. For those who've discovered its smooth draft taste, the world is a very cool place.
He's running wide open again, pushing hard, never giving in. Like a tumbleweed in the wind, he quits danger with the boyish grin.
The late Davey Allison will be remembered as a fearless competitor. Now ride with him on the ultimate auto racing videotape, Runnin' Wide Open, an up-close look at a sports superstar. Released on July 7th, Runnin' Wide Open focuses on Davey Allison during the 1992 and 93 seasons. You'll race, golf, and hunt with him. Go to his house, attend a pre-race strategy meeting, visit with him at his shop during May of 1993, walk with him at the track just before a race. Runnin' Wide Open is special. 75 minutes of Davey Allison action. Call now to order the ultimate auto racing videotape.
Call 1-800-637-6300 to order Davey Allison's Runnin' Wide Open video for only $24.95 plus $3 shipping. If you order now, you will receive a free color photo of Davey. Checks and money orders accepted. Sorry, no CODs.
Don Stevens, the owner of Rally Distributing in Tulsa, joins us here this afternoon at Hallett. And Don's certainly an authority on the V1600 series, one of the races that we're going to see at Hallett this afternoon. And just tell us everything about it, Don.
This is a series we started last year that Rally sponsors and started. The concept was to take an existing class and try to make it more economical to race. We run on a spec tire that's a street radial that you run the whole season on one set of tires, and we run basically stock Volkswagen 1600 engines. You run a whole season, very economical. It's become very competitive. We have 8 to 10 cars running now and more people building cars because they're not spending all their money, $5,000 for an engine. You build an engine for $1,000, you come race for 2 seasons and just have a ball. We're all qualified here within a second of each other today and expect to have a very, very good race. And every time we're out here at the Common Challenge, we have a very good race because of the concept and because of the all cars being equal, except for the drivers.
Don, it should be exciting. We're looking forward to watching it this afternoon at Hallett.
Thank you very much.
V1600s off the track, but back on there. Good driving experience. Didn't lift. Kept his foot in the accelerator as they charge up over the hill and down into turn 2.
Mark Parnell is in second place through turn 2. He's had a very successful weekend here at Hallett.
three different classes there, 1, 2, and 3. Kilgo with FA. Number 27, Mark Parnell, CF, in second place. And third, number 7, is Harold Quanti.
Quanti in the Formula Ford. So as you say, first, second, and third overall in the race, but those three leading their particular classes.
Saw Michael Jones leading the V1600, number 92, out there in his Bug-Eye Sprite in the vintage race. And now he's climbed into the V1600. That's number 3, Malcolm Joyce, also in V1600. And your race leader, Mark Kilgo, in the number 6 machine.
Kilgo is out of Garland, Texas. Professional race mechanic, 35 years old. Again, has been a crew member on Trans Am's, on a Trans Am car, Chitinaco Reef, and his Indy car. So he certainly knows how to not only race these cars, he knows how to work on them as well.
Stevens mounting a charge in V1600. It's still Michael Jones leading, and then H. David Jones in second place. Then Stevens has now moved from his 10th position, but he was qualified 4th V1600. He's moved ahead of John Kemp, number 36 V1600.
Oh, and a spin there you just saw. We'll try and find out who that was.
26. Like Kemp, I believe that's 36.
36.
John Kemp, who he mentioned had got airborne earlier in one of the practice sessions this morning. Been his car pretty bad, but did very well in the 6-lap qualifying race. Looks like he's going a little bit slow out there on the track now. Hopefully he'll be able to gather it back up and get back in the race. Is third in points. Bobby Bias leading points in V1600 for the Common Series. Don Stevens in second, and Kemp third.
Mark Kilgo, a sizable lead over car 27, Mark Parnell. Kilgo on his third lap. Keith Young in 4th place overall, and second the Club Fords. 512 also in there. Brian Sabalich in his Formula Ford finds himself in 5th place overall. Michael Queen, who's your season points lead in the Formula Ford's car number 26, is in 6th place overall, followed by H. David Jones in the V16.
Able to get around Jones. That's it. David Jones able to get around Michael Jones. May have been 92 that you saw there, Don, the heat of the day, maybe getting your backup commentator.
Mark Kilgo's having no problems. He says this is his favorite track, and why not? He won the earlier qualifying race, and now he is taking care of things here in the 12-lap feature race.
He's been on the racetrack when he calls it day-to-day after being up there in the vintage race, 6-lap qualifying race, and now here in this 12-lapper. So plenty of seat time in the Comma Racing Series.
He has an 8-second lead over second-place Mark Parnell. And the battle right now is for third. That's 92, and then Michael Jones in 3rd place.
Michael Jones back in front of H. David Jones. So you've got a real race here for first place in V1600.
That's 3rd place overall in the race. And more importantly, as you mentioned, the first place in the V16. And as you mentioned, Robbie Bias, haven't seen him out there yet. I'm sure he's out there, though. Car number 28 doing very well, leading the season standings over Don Stevens, who is one of Bias's top sponsors. and yet Stevens is in second place in the season standings, 170 points behind Bias. We're talking to the V16. Bias out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. He said he lost his throttle in the qualifying race earlier today and was really only able to use about half his throttle, so he wasn't sure how he would compete today in the V16 as Mark Kilgo finds himself on lap number 4 of this 12-lap feature race for the open wheel Kama cars here on Checkered Flag.
In the beginning, TV networks like CBS and NBC sent out a signal. Now, some people got it, but some people didn't. Then came cable. We built big antennas to catch the network signal and send it to the houses that couldn't get it, which made everybody happy, including the broadcasters. And now the networks say they might stop us from carrying their signal. We hope they don't, but it's their decision. No matter what they decide, we'll keep a channel open for them.
You are cordially invited to an unprecedented opportunity to mingle with the greatest stars in the history of television, movies, sports, and entertainment. Call your local cable system and advertise locally on TNT. And be seen at the biggest gathering on television.
To advertise locally on TNT, call KAMA at 923-2262.
Gear up with Eli Gold as he travels the NASCAR circuit to bring you the inside look with auto racing's big boys behind the wheels on This Week in NASCAR.
This Week in NASCAR from Indianapolis, Indiana. Thursday night at 11 on Sports South.
Mike Jones, who owns Jones Automotive here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, joins us. And anytime we talk to Mike, or anyone who talks to Mike, he is the authority when it comes to vintage cars. And I know you're very excited about what's happening here this afternoon at Hallett, Mike.
We're grateful to have an opportunity to bring the vintage road racing scene to Hallett Motor Racing Circuit. The cars that are on the track this afternoon are represented by this Cobra in the background that's from an important era of sports car racing in the United States. And we're putting that history back on the track this afternoon in the form of cars that typically have a racing history and are out here mostly to be seen on the track. The driving is held back a little bit so that we're not risking banging these things up because they need to go home in one piece. And it's a great opportunity to get people started in vintage racing because this particular venue is so user-friendly and easy to get into thanks to Mike Stevens at Hallett Motor Racing Circuit and the Competition Motorsports Association as a organizer. And most of the cars you'll see will be from the 1960s, some from the early 70s, and they are primarily raced in the configuration they were from that particular point in time.
Mike, looking forward to a lot of fun, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us out here, and thanks to the fans.
Mark Kilgo is your leader, 33 years old, out of Garland, Texas. This is his 12th year of racing. Sponsors are Young Chevrolet out of the Dallas area and Race Tech Communications.
Unlike the spec races we had earlier, you mentioned you couldn't change gear ratios and those things. You're limited in what you can do. With these, like the number 6 machine, he'll have a whole box full, truck full of different gear ratios. Not just changing the final drive ratio, Don, but all the ratios through the entire transmission of whatever will work best on this track, figuring what works best for each turn. And more times than not, when you're in the pits, you see these cars looking to make changes in the pits. It's in the gear ratios of just 1 or 2 numbers. Minute changes can make the difference in getting around quickly and getting around not so quickly, winning and losing the race.
Kilgo, as we mentioned, has a 15-second lead as he hits some lap traffic here. He has a 15-second lead over his nearest competitor, Brian Sabulich, in car 512 you see there. Sabulich is leading his class, the Formula Forwards. Sabulich has likewise a 16-second lead over the third-place car. That belongs to 92, Michael Jones, who leads his class in the V16s. And in 4th place overall in this race is Michael Queen. Michael Queen is in the Formula Ford, so he is 5th overall.
Last lap, I believe, Don, and Michael Jones still in first place. We've got a new second place position. Don Stevens in second, and number 28, Robbie Bias in third. 1, 2, and 3 in V1600.
So here we go with Mark Kilgo coming up for the checkered flag. Finished second in the vintage race we had earlier. Finished first in the qualifying race that we gave you earlier. Here he is back again, winning the 12-lap feature race for the open wheels for the Common Cars here at Hallett. Mark Kilgo. Kilgo with his B Sports Racer, although he's racing the Formula Ford class.
Not as many classes in COMA Series and the Competition Motorsports Association Series, Don, as SCCA. They are trying to keep it simpler, more affordable, a little less involved a form of racing. A good way to get involved in the sport, a good entry-level race series. Yet you've got professionals we've been talking about that have been after it for many years, pursuing the COMA Series. So just about whatever level of seriousness or commitment you want to get into, COMA is a good place to do it.
Kilgo likes it. He gives us the victory wave on his cool-down lap after winning this 12-lap feature race, coming in second overall. First in his Formula Ford class is car 512, and it's Brian Sabelich in his Cat Cam Racing Formula Ford out of the Oklahoma City area.
Congratulations, Brian, on your win in the Formula Ford division here at Hallett this afternoon. And when the race started, it looked like you were going to have one heck of a time making it, but you made your way up front and did it. Tell us about it.
Well, I was supposed to start second behind the first place winner, Mark Kilmore. And what happened was we couldn't get the car started, so I had to go back around and start behind everyone else. And when they started the race, so I had to come from, what was it, 18th, and I got back up to second place, so I was happy with it.
Had to make your crew happy as well.
Yeah, that's what they're telling me. They said it was pretty good driving. I was happy with it, though.
Congratulations again, Brian.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Congratulations, Mike. A great win in the V600 series here at Hallett this afternoon, and you drove a heck of a race, a lot tighter in some places on the track than we could see here at the finish line.
The very reason that V1600 exists is because it is a driver's class, and a class that promotes driver ability rather than cubic dollars in racing. And the win today celebrates my wife and I announcement of our new baby boy that we'll have, if not a young lady. And we just had a great time, and it was a great race.
Well, congratulations again, and I'm sure it's going to be a little race driver.
I hope so.
See dirt track sprint car racing at the new Route 66 Raceway Park. First, see the wild stock cars racing every Saturday night at 7 p.m. And then every Sunday night, see the best sprint car racing show in Oklahoma. Top racing stars from 5 states. Starting at 7 p.m., they're over before 10 p.m. That's sprint car racing every Sunday at Raceway Park on Route 66, just west of Sapulpa. Advance tickets at all Tulsa Get and Go stores or call 838-3777.
Coming this fall and lasting every month throughout the spring of '94. ACC Sports Sunday on Sports South. A comprehensive lineup of Atlantic Coast previews, updates, sports specials, and a variety of live coverage in both regular season and tournament events. ACC Sports Sunday this fall on Sports South.
The name of the game is speed. All out. Foot to the floorboard. Gear jamming. Speed. The rewards are exciting, but the danger is haunting.
Anderson 400 from Indiana. Live Saturday night at 9 on Sports South. The launching pad has a new long ball lineup. But to close ground in the West means shutting down Rookie of the Year candidate Mike Piazza and the LA Dodgers. Live Wednesday night at 7:30 on Sports South.
Here with Eli Gold as he travels the NASCAR circuit to bring you the inside look with auto racing's big boys behind the wheels on This Week in NASCAR.
This Week in NASCAR from Indianapolis, Indiana. Thursday night at 11 on Sports South.
Congratulations, Mark, on your Formula Atlantic win here at Hallett this afternoon. A very hot day for racing, but your car hung in there. You hung in there. Congratulations again.
Well, thank you very much. We really enjoy coming out here to this track. It's a real nice track, and the people here are really wonderful to race around and so forth. And I want to thank Stevens Racing for putting on this show for us and everything. Also, I'd like to thank Young Chevrolet. They helped make this possible. Everybody back at Applebee's. Of course, for sure, my mechanic, Lauren, he does a wonderful job. He kept us running today when some of the other competition was falling out, so that was really good. Thanks to Pockrass Enterprises and Racetech Communications also.
Congratulations again, Mark, and a wonderful day for racing here at Hallett.
Yes, thank you. Enjoyed it.
Keith, congratulations in the Club Ford division here at Hallett this afternoon. A great race under rather hot and trying conditions, but obviously you drove well and your car held up well.
Oh, I haven't had so much fun in a long time. The car held up swell, and we passed a couple of cars, or I did, in doing it, and it's great satisfaction for a man my age, you know. And just had a grand time. As I say, the reason the Chevrolet dealer drives the Club Ford is just to go slow. But I want to get all I can out of it, and I just had a grand time.
Obviously, you are having a good time, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure, and running with the kids is just more fun than anything I can imagine. And just having a grand time. We appreciate your interest in us, and this is a great track. Hallett is always a wonderful place. All we need is 20 degrees cooler.
And Salisbury also is your season points leader in the GT2 class here for the connoisseurs in this region.
For the green flag this time, no guarantee they will get it. Looks like they do.
They do, and we're underway for this 12-lap feature race.
Boy, congestion, a little bit of rubbing going on back in the pack there, but Salisbury takes the lead into turn one there. A hard charger. Salisbury likes to start up front and stay out front.
Larry Childs settles in right behind him. Most of the cars in these feature races that started out front have gone on to win.
Mike Allen, the number 101 GT2 Datsun Z car, a dramatic big back wing on that. We'll see if it'll give him an advantage today. Front straightaway, the longest straightaway at Hallett, where they get up to the highest speed.
Salisbury first, car 72, Larry Childs in second, car 101, Mike Allen in third on the first lap.
Out there in that GT1 Camaro top qualifier, lost an oil filler breather before the race up and during practice this morning, Don, and said he has sent part of his crew members. They went into 4 surrounding towns trying to find a part. Finally used a socket off a socket wrench set, stuffed a red pit rag over it, and a hose clamp off a heater hose, and kind of made their own breather for the driver's side valve cover on that Chevy V8 in this Camaro. And said actually it seemed to be working better than the breather cap they had on the passenger side. He may just get another socket out and make another breather for the passenger side.
Got to learn how to improvise.
Well, he's talking about the possibilities of his car smoking, and I believe his quote was something like, the Chevys are kind of like Harleys. If they ain't smoking, then it means you haven't got enough oil in it. Struggling a little bit today, but was able to qualify in the top position in GT1 as a result of his finish in that qualifying race.
Salisbury, your overall leader and leader in the GT2 class. Car number 83 is a student out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, a hotbed of racing activity. One of the largest cities in Oklahoma, one of the fastest growing cities in Oklahoma. He is sponsored by Riverside Nissan, as you see. Ace Foreign Salvage and Pattison Performance Products. He was the 1992 GT2 champion.
Ned Walters falling back, Don. Ned had qualified top of the GT3s and 5th overall on the grid, actually 4th as they started out, but he's fallen back in the pack already.
On lap number 2 of his 12-lap feature race. And I don't know if people realize how they strip these cars down inside.
How much interior comforts at all, but most of the series cars have racing seats in those. There's no door panels, all that carpeting and insulation and upholstery weighs a significant amount. You get it all out. Each individual piece might not seem like much, but a quarter pound here, a half pound there, and pretty soon we're talking about real weight in these cars. So most of those without the interior comforts. Even Mike Lindsay in his number 13 Camaro doesn't have the windshield in that, though he does have the safety screen over the front, meeting the rules for the Competition Motorsports Association.
You might see that most of them have safety nets on the driver's side. I think that might be optional at times, whether they want one or not. As hot as it is today, look out.
I believe they have those for the coupes. The roadsters are not required to have the nets, and that for the driver's safety to keep hands and arms inside in case of a rollover.
Jeff Salisbury on his 3rd lap. Now, no stereos in these things, right? They're not listening to the stereos. Or
well, did notice some windshield wipers on the Mustang out there.
No windows, but I guess you could drive these to work, right?
If you can retain enough safety equipment on these, some of the showroom stock classes that run in SCCA can run in the Akama series, fighting class for them. Would require them to tape over their headlights and tail lights in case of some contact. There might be some breakage, but it's not inconceivable to be able to prepare a car, drive it to the track, race, and then drive back home.
Jeff Salisbury coming down into turn 2 rather quickly.
Salisbury used to drive that one on the street. In fact, that's the car he drove to high school in his senior year back when he graduated. Has continually improved it and updated it and upgraded it. And now leading this race, leading points this year, and last year's champion.
He is your leader. 72 Larry Childs in 2nd, also in the same class. 101 Mike Allen in 3rd, also in the same class. And it was a race between those 3. Everybody else is quite a ways behind them.
Davey Allison will be remembered as a fearless competitor. Now ride with him on the ultimate auto racing videotape, Run in Wide Open, an up-close look at a sports superstar. Released on July 7th, Run in Wide Open focuses on Davey Allison during the 1992 and 93 seasons. You'll race, golf, and hunt with him. Go to his house, attend a pre-race strategy meeting, visit with him at his shop during May of 1993, walk with him at the track just before a race. Run in Wide Open is special. 75 minutes of Davey Allison action. Call now to order the ultimate auto racing videotape.
Call 1-800-637-6300 to order Davey Allison's Runnin' Wide Open video for only $24.95 plus $3 shipping. If you order now, you will receive a free color photo of Davey. Checks and money orders accepted. Sorry, no CODs.
There's one question to ask yourself when looking for a weightlifting machine. Does it have negative resistance? Negative resistance is the part of weightlifting that's responsible for virtually all muscle growth. Isokinetic machines don't have negative resistance. They can't build muscle or strength like Soloflex. Buy a muscle machine that actually builds muscle, Soloflex.
Child's pushing it there. He's off a couple of wheels off in the grass coming out of 11. Heading down to turn 1 on the front straightaway.
After this race, J.B. Haney will join us in the pits and talk to our winner. Will it be 83, Jeff Salisbury?
Child's gotten around some of that lap traffic, so he's got relatively clear track between him and Salisbury. His only problem is how quick Salisbury is still going. So barring a bobble or mechanical problem for Salisbury, it may not be enough time to try out the catching.
Mike Allen is in third place. Mike Allen with that wing is third in this race, third in the GT2 class, and third in the overall standings, behind Larry Childs and behind Jeff Salisbury. So these three will finish 1, 2, 3, it appears, overall in the race. 1, 2, 3 in the GT2 class. And that's where they are in the season standings. Salisbury, Childs, and Allen.
Jeff doing a good job of getting his Riverside Nissan sponsorship, some airtime there. Along with Ace Foreign Auto Salvage. Jeff, quick to credit those sponsors and the help that he gets in mounting his racing effort. It's just tough for an individual to do it single-handedly. Everybody gets a lot of volunteer help.
Racing certainly wouldn't be what it is today without the sponsorships. Childs in his car 72.
I'm impressed with Childs' run today, Don. He's been smooth, keeping up a good steady pace.
Marty Wagner, car 68, continuing to lead his pro stock class. Checkered flag for Jeff Salisbury.
And Jeff, very quick with that wave. We've seen a lot of the drivers waving. The main one they're waving at as they come around the track is the corner workers. They'll give their competitors a little friendly, good race wave. But the corner workers, volunteers here at Hallett that are there for the safety of the drivers, there if necessary, and keep the race officials alerted to what is happening around the track.
Congratulations, Jeff. A great win here for you this afternoon at Hallett. It just seemed like that your driving and the car kept going just as hot as the weather was. Did it appear that way to you in the automobile?
Yes, it was very hot today. I think the outside temperature is at least 100, and inside the car I just had a thermometer and it was 110 on the cool-off lap. So I think the race lap was at least 115 degrees, and everything held together, and the little Nissan worked real well today.
And I know a lot of people are responsible for you winning and for your success on the track.
Yes. Ace Foreign Salvage, Riverside Nissan, Raymond Patterson, Patterson Performance Products, Todd Collier, Patrick Patton, John Gillespie, whole crew, the Parnells. We had a lot of good people backing us today, and I really thank them a lot, and glad we did well today.
And I know one thing, the ribs you had for lunch had to help you with strength.
Yes, the Parnells are gourmet cooks, and they did well for our lunch today, didn't they, JV?
They sure did, Jeff. Congratulations again on your victory.
Thank you very much.
We bailed at 12K. I was shooting bids for the tube jocks over at Sports South. They wanted footage of a highly disciplined and well-trained unit. Needing the ultimate, they came to see me and the Dukes. We tossed our mains, but mine was bogus. Thinking I was toast, I began to wig. I grubbed for my reserve chute and pulled and pulled.
Sports South's excellent summer. Don't try to pull this at home.
Has this ever happened to you? Don't tear that shirt into dust rags. Introducing DD7 Super All-Purpose Stain Remover. Remove that stain without a trace. Dilute and soak fabrics for a like-new whiteness. Imagine this is your laundry and a red sock turns everything pink, or ink leaks from a pen. Iodine. Add DD7 to the final rinse and all is restored. Order DD7 today on this special TV offer for $14.95, or save $10 in order 2 for $19.95. Now you see it, now you don't. Now call.
Coming this fall and lasting every month throughout the spring of '94. ACC Sports Sunday on Sports South. A comprehensive lineup of Atlantic Coast previews, updates, sports specials, and a variety of live coverage in both regular season and tournament events. ACC Sports Sunday this fall on Sports South.
Green flag from Mont-Taylor. Here we go. Underway with this 15-lapper for the Spec Racers. Keith Brewer gets the lead again. Ahead of Chris Funk, 61, and Tilber right there with him in car number 1. He settles in third and pushes somebody a little bit. They go a little wide getting out of turn 1. A couple do. Looks like Brewer's big. Jim Lewis, 75, settles now into second. John Bowden, car 22, in third. This shapes up. Looks like it's going to be some kind of race. Lewis and Brewer battled before out here, and it's going to be another classic Spec Racer duel. This Pro Spec Racer shootout. Looking at the regional point standings in the Spec Racers, Ed Brett is your season leader with 475 points, having won, I believe, one of the previous 4 weekends, but he has finished very consistent. However, he's not here this weekend. Brewer looking for a little lift in his season, Don. He towed all the way to Elkhart Lake, was running it up there, qualified in the top 20 out of more than 80 Spec Racers up there. First lap out, had the transmission problems, couldn't get in anything but second gear, couldn't shift, had a clutch go out on him. And so a long way to go to get in less than 1 lap of racing. So a win today would certainly do a lot to change the old attitude. Only as good as your last race, and he's looking to change that record. Brewer is 33 years of age, out of the Oklahoma City area. Just his 3rd year of racing, but he has certainly raced a number of different machines here at Hallett. 3rd year of racing with the Spec Racers. Quite a veteran motorcycle racer before that. And really stretching out a pretty good lead there. I didn't look for him to get that far in front of Lewis this early on. 12 laps in this race. The Top Gun Shootout. Number 1 there is Neil Tilber, again out of Long Island, New York. However, he races in the Kansas region. As we mentioned, he's in Vince Toys. Brewer is 4th or 5th in the points in SR for the Comma Series. Whoa, look out. Trouble with the 2 leaders. Or 2 of the leaders anyway. 22 Bowden and 75 Lewis. That was 1st and 2nd, and taking over the lead is Chris Funk on lap number 3. And we'll see if we can get a look at it again as we go along here in this 15-lap feature race. But we have a new leader, 61, Chris Funk. And Dave Pistock is up there in 2nd place now. He was qualified 6th on the grid, but enjoying 2nd place position right now. Tough to make up that much ground when you took the leaders out like that. These cars with the equal horsepower, equal gearing, equal tires. The drivers are the difference. And with the miscue like that off the track, it'll be tough for Brewer and Lewis to get back in the race. Brewer is the leader. I beg your pardon. Keith Brewer is still leading this race. Car number 80. It is
61, Chris Funk in second. So that spin was for second place between 22 Tilber on your right, or 22 Bowden on the right, and Tilber, number 1 on the left.
It's almost like a synchronized swimming when they started into this one. I think that was Lewis and Bowden, wasn't it, Tom?
Might have been.
Bowden in 22, Lewis in 75. Both able to recover, though, and this, again, very forgiving Hallett Motor Racing Circuit. Not a lot of ground clearance with these cars. The rub strips, the teeth, keep them off the apexes a little bit. Not very forgiving, but could see them again before the race is over. Bowden number 22, Lewis number 75, the ones that look like they may have touched, spun together, but both back on the way.
Car 61 in second place, Chris Funk. He is the president of a picture and framing business in his 4th year of racing out of the Kansas City area.
Brewer taking that opportunity of the activity behind him to stretch out that lead even more. So he's enjoying what he is seeing in his mirrors, which is second place, ways back.
In the beginning, TV networks like CBS and NBC sent out a signal. Now, some people got it, but some people didn't. Then came cable. We built big antennas to catch the network signal and send it to the houses that couldn't get it, which made everybody happy, including the broadcasters. And now the networks say they might stop us from carrying their signal. We hope they don't, but it's their decision. No matter what they decide, we'll keep a channel open for them.
You are cordially invited to an unprecedented opportunity to mingle with the greatest stars in the history of television, movies, sports, and entertainment. Call your local cable system and advertise locally on TNT. And be seen at the biggest gathering on television.
To advertise locally on TNT, call CAMA at 923-2262.
Speed. All out. Foot to the floorboard. Gear jamming. Speed. The rewards are exciting, but the danger is haunting.
Anderson 400 from Indiana. Live Saturday night at 9 on Sports South.
He's won 2 national races this year. And there were no.
Certainly Keith Brewer named to look for in Atlanta. The Nationals SCCA runoffs in October.
He also holds a lap record out here at Hallett. Comes through stop sign turn 2. Now we'll come up by the lake. Take a look at the front straightaway. 22 John Bowden again battling with Pat O'Keefe, number 41. I believe that's for 5th place.
Looks like Bowden's got a little bit of modification. His front fiberglass there too. Don't know if it closed up his radiator opening. Looks like may have opened it up a little bit.
Car 75, Jim Lewis in 3rd. Car number 8, Dave Hiscock is still in 4th. The battle there is for 5th. O'Keefe 41, Bowden 22, and car 71 is Neil Brown.
I've been told by more than one race watcher that Neil Brown's one to watch even through the season and possibly the Nationals in Atlanta this year.
He and I believe went through the same school of high performance driving out here just about a year and a half ago. Neil Brown has certainly made a lot of progress out of Tulsa, 46 years old. Right now he is in 7th place, but certainly battling 22 Bowden and 41 O'Keefe up there for 5th place. Keith Brewer about 2/3 of the way done now. 10 laps down and 5 more to go. And the girls continue to battle back straight. 93 Richardson and 91 Penny Hall. Keith Brewer continues to lead.
Oh, and then a spin. Donna Richardson, the number 93 pink machine you've been talking about, with a spin.
She is just okay. She's just taken over.
contact with the tire wall, and then looks like she's got any rough agricultural considerations off the track. So she's back on the track, back on the way. Donna Richardson, number 93.
Penny Hall, whose husband Ken also races. She has done some drag racing, she says, and some autocross. 44 years old. Aerobics instructor, again out of Mandeville, Louisiana, the New Orleans area. On a hot day here at Hallett, temperature around 100 degrees.
I think we may have observed Donna and Penny both talking in the pits there, Don. Something you might have expected. They were talking about the cooking crawdads.
And Keith Brewer, as you see the pace car, apparently they have knocked this maybe down to the heat. Have knocked it down instead of 15 laps, just to 12 laps.
Welcome back to Sports South, and thanks for tuning in on this, our very first day on the air.
1991.
Wallers and Pena in a no-hitter.
1992. This year, there's more in store. Sports South. Watching Sports South Network.
Lewis, 50 years old, out of the Kansas City area.
Disc brakes in these cars designed to stop a 3,000-pound passenger car, so they should be able to do a good job of slowing down these cars of half that weight, though these racing conditions much more severe than you would encounter out on the road. And there, race for a little rubbing. That's Bowden and Lewis banging in.
And then Bowden spins
off the track into the tire wall, knocks the front bodywork off. Whatever damage he had before, multiplied by that. See him moving around. He looks like he's okay.
Once they hit the grass, there's really no controlling the cars.
No control, and don't slow down. Of course, you're not. The drivers even describe it as a sensation of speeding up or going faster once they leave the asphalt and get on the grass. Of course, you're not speeding up any, but the rate of deceleration is much less on grass than it is on the pavement.
Actually, it's a lot like being at the amusement park. It's kind of fun.
You're familiar with that phenomenon?
Yes, I've
sliding on the grass.
The times I've been out there, believe me, I've experienced that thrill.
Keith Brewer holding on to first. Looks like Lewis may have used up a little bit of his time, while Bowden already busy collecting parts of his car.
Something I'm not familiar with is leading a race, and that's what Keith Brewer is doing, and doing rather well.
Bowden continues to collect parts. We'll see how that came to be the necessary function of the driver. You can see his rub strip coming all the way off there. There are some rub strips off the side of the track that is designed to take the hit rather than the direct frame on the car.
And the hood as well pops off rather easily
to absorb the impact. Safety of the driver. Very rugged tube frame construction for these single seat purpose-built race cars.
Well, I'm not sure how many laps Keith Brewer has now with the NASCAR type restart. I think he's only got one more lap left.
He's watching those mirrors, though. You can see his helmet moving around as he checks mirrors on both sides. Now moving down into turn 2.
75, Jim Lewis in second, who certainly knows the racetrack, Heartland racetrack up at Topeka. He's been very successful there. Car number 8 in third place is Dave Pistock out of Pittsburgh, Kansas. His third year of racing.
Looks like 6 or 8 car lengths between Lewis and Brewer there, but only about 3 seconds by the stopwatch, Don. So 3 seconds. It's tough to make that up here on what's probably the last lap of this 15-lap race. Cars are so close to the edge. To run quickly up front, you have to be right on that ragged edge of losing control, but maintaining control and getting through the corners smoothly. Often a little bit of a touch like that will send one or both cars off the track. Lewis was able to stay on that time, but not quite so lucky.
Checkered flag for Keith Brewer, 33-year-old out of Oklahoma City. He dominates this track.
Not exactly a Sunday cruise for him. He had to work for it there a little bit at the last.
He is certainly starting to make a name for himself at this track. His third win of the year for Keith Brewer, car number 80. And a nice job by 75 Jim Lewis, who spun out earlier to finish second.
And a nice gentlemanly wave as he tells Keith, good job.
Hallett Motor Racing Circuit brings multiple types of motorsports activities to Oklahoma race fans in 1993. Sports Car Clubs of America and Competition Motorsports Association Sports Car Racing, Hallett Road Race Club, and Western Eastern Racing Association Motorcycle Competition, as well as the International Kart Federation Go-Kart Races. Hallett is located at the Highway 99 exit of the Cimarron Turnpike and has Goodyear Racing tires and Phillips 66 racing fuel available on site. Call 918-583-1134 for schedules and information.
Mustang Sally. Oh yeah. Yes, you better slow your Mustang.
Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. For those who've discovered its smooth draft taste, the world is a very cool place.
Put your flat feet on that ground.
Sports South. September. Fall sports. Fall fever. We're blitzing full force with college football. Over 30 weekly coaches shows and conference updates. More than 25 live and tape delay games throughout the month. Stacking each weekend with matchups from across the South and around the nation. How about football from around the world? The Canadian League live and the Australian Rules Grand Final live. And talk about hard-hitting action. Every hit counts in the pennant race, and we've got the Braves covered, both on and off the field. September comes a-swinging in a variety of styles. And whether driving the green or driving the distance, we'll put you in the driver's seat. Sports South, September.
Keith, congratulations, a great win here at Hallett. You started on the pole position, had a very comfortable lead, but were you a little apprehensive there on lap 13 when you had the restart?
Yeah, I was. I hate to see a good lead like that blown, but I took a trick from Rick Houston last year when he suckered me on the restart, and I just went to racing speed just as soon as the pace car pulled off, and I knew that the tires were going to be back on after cooling them down for 2 laps, so I just immediately went back up to as fast as we could go, and they stuck, and it worked, and I managed to keep them behind me till the end.
Must be a great advantage driving on your home track, and I know you drive for the Stevens School of High Performance Driving here at Hallett, and that has to give you a very comfortable feeling.
Yeah, I've just got a lot of laps around this track. This is one of my favorite tracks. Either direction, we do run this track clockwise, and it just makes it a whole new track. And I've been instructing for Mike for a couple of years now, and that gives me a lot of time on the track also.
Congratulations again, Keith. Great race.
Thank you. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Mike Stevens and Stevens Racing, and Security Protection Systems of Tulsa. And I'd like to thank my wife for helping me out.
It was certainly a warm afternoon at Hallett Motor Racing Circuit. Not much breeze in this 100-degree temperature, but Neil Kennedy, not only was it hot temperature-wise, hot on the track today.
Even with the adverse conditions with the weather and a lot of hot competition to go along with it out there, no major racing incidents, the kinds of things we've been talking about, how safe this course is, how much competition can be had at Hallett, and yet how forgiving it is when you do have those occasional bubbles and get off the track. All the drivers and race crew doing an outstanding job.
It's certainly a entertaining day and a very rewarding day for car number 80, Keith Brewer, car number 6, Mark Kilgo, car number 83, Jeff Salisbury. They had a very rewarding afternoon, and we certainly had the pleasure of meeting them. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing you this edition of Checkered Flag. For J.B. Haney, for Neil Kennedy, Don King, we'll see you again next week with another edition of Checkered Flag.